So in chapter 2, they figure out they're on the island, they're having their little powwow, they're establishing their rules. One of the rules they establish is anyone who wants to talk needs to be holding the conch shell. Alright? They decide they're going to have to look after themselves. And what is the other important thing that they decide on this island? What do they decide they need to do?
To have fun.
To have fun. Absolutely. Absolutely. But at the end of the chapter, what did they decide they need to have? A fire. They decide that they need a fire. We need a fire. So they need a fire. What is the purpose of the fire in this situation? Signal for rescue. Alright, so signal for rescue in the hopes that they can get off the island. So the first thing is for signal for rescue. But I want you to think about beyond that. In a survival situation, if you were in this situation where you're trapped on an island and you need to get off, yes, the fire serves ultimately as the signal for rescue. What else does fire do for you in a survival situation? Warmth. What else? Cook. Cook food. What else? Think about fire, y'all. Mosquitoes. How about other predators? Keep other predators away. What else? Think about it in terms if several of you are stranded on an island.
See each other?
Yeah, it's a meeting point. Guys, it's nature's TV. You ever just gotten around with a group and just looked at the fire? It's nature's television set. It's deeply within the human psyche that we gather around the fire. It's a focal point and a foundation for community. All these things that fire can do for them. Provide community, signal for rescue, warmth, so they don't freeze at night. They can cook their food, keeps mosquitoes and predators away. And it's nature's TV. You've got to have TV. All these things that fire can do for them. And what do they do with it? They burn half the forest down. The only reason they don't burn the whole forest down is the wind happens to be blowing out to sea. What do they do with it? They burn the whole forest down. Now this joy of destruction is well-founded. Because what is the tendency when you start to build a fire? Make it big. I feel that too. When I'm building a fire, like I do for my barbecues, or I have a burn pit in my backyard, the tendency for me that I have to fight is to push it as far as it will, by God, friggin' go. What started off was, can you burn these boxes? They won't fit in our trash can. Next thing you know, my wife comes out and back says, honey, you're going to burn down the house. And I'm like, ah, fire. You ever felt that? It feels good. All these opportunities that fire gives them. And what did they do? They burned down the frigging island. Now, real quick, how do they start the fire? Piggy spectacles. They focus the sunlight and start a fire. Y'all ever done that before? It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. It's very satisfying. There's something primitively satisfying about it. Not only that, what is implied at the end? Not only have they burned down half the forest, what else is implied? Yes, well, absolutely. Piggy can't see without his glasses. But what is implied? There's a little boy who says something about a snake thing. A beastie, a snake thing. Yeah, he saw it sneaking around in the dark. What happens? What is implied that happens to that little boy at the end of this chapter? He got lost in the fire. They don't want to acknowledge it, but we know what happened to that little boy. He got lost in the fire. So not only do they burn down half their world, they also lose one of their own. That's what they do with this incredible opportunity. They're negligent. They're negligent. They're not murderers, they're stupid. Can we draw a distinction? None of them wanted to kill the little boy. They just burned down the island because they're dumb. Because they, like me, with fire, they had a tendency to push it as far as it will go. Now, why is Golding putting this in there? What's happening here is Golding is making his commentary on man's precarious relationship with technology. This parallels man's relationship with technology. Now remember with the title, which is Satan, Golding is wanting us to interpret this on multiple layers of both meta, in-universe, and historical context. Yes?
Is he doing another one just like the book? He's like fire again. Is he like repeating kind of like that Satan vibe?
You could have that. And that Satan vibe you're talking about is going to manifest as we see the development of the beast over the course of this novel. We're going to come back to that. All right.
It makes it seem like we're ignorant without technology.
Well, let's look at that for a minute. Piggy is the Promethean. Piggy represents the Promethean. Who is the Promethean? What is Prometheus? Yes. Not necessarily a god. What's before the gods? The Titans. A Titan, according to classical mythology. And what did this Titan do?
Gave us fire.
Gave us fire. Historically, and according to legend, according to mythology, fire. This is man's first technology. Mankind's first technology is fire. You have to imagine the island as this microcosm of humanity. The island represents humanity in its infancy. The boys represent primitive man. You got that? We're out of the garden now. Mankind just lost his innocence. Just like that. So the Promethean brings fire to humanity to elevate them from darkness. Brings fire to humanity to elevate them from darkness. What does mankind do with this gift in the background of the novel? What's happening in the background of the novel? Not on the island, but in the world around him. Huh? It's burning because of nuclear war. So you have a representation of the background of the novel, but let's talk about history. In every major movement of man's technology, the core of it has been fire and light. This incredible opportunity for us. Let's look how it manifests. Let's just start with the Bronze Age. We'll go away from the caveman discovering a burning branch from a lightning bolt. So you have the Bronze Age. What is bronze made of? Copper and tin. How do we make it? With? Fire. Then we have the Iron Age. How do we rework iron? Fire. Let's just jump forward a little bit. Let's go steam locomotion. How do we make it? The steam engine era. How do we make it? Fire. How about internal combustion? Y'all know what internal combustion is, right? Yes. If you look at a piston in one of those, I don't know how they do this. I think they use like this tempered glass that's hard as steel, and they've got these piston-driven engines that you can actually look in. And if you watch it in a slow-motion camera, you see the piston coming up and a flame emerging, and this tiny explosion drives the piston back down. It's amazing. Internal combustion, it's fire. Electricity. You ever put your hand up next to an old school light bulb? It's hot. It's hot, it burns. And then we enter the nuclear age. Y'all, here's the thing. I know that nuclear energy has a bad reputation. But do you know what the potential is for nuclear energy? Clean, sustainable nuclear energy? You hear about the meltdowns that occurred, but have you heard about the ones that haven't? an opportunity to literally harness the power of the sun to power our homes, to power our TVs, to power our vehicles. All this incredible opportunity. But what does mankind do with it?
Destruction.
Weaponize it. Destruction. Absolutely right. Absolutely right. Do you see the parallel that Golding is drawing between history, man's precarious history with technology and tendency towards weaponization, and the boys' relationship with their first technology? This is a microcosm that is Golding's commentary on mankind. Yes?
Do you think that he could be kind of referencing the future, considering that they were about to just, when he wrote this, it's when the bombs were just getting made.
Absolutely.
I think he was referencing like, oh, in the future, it's going to happen, like this is going to happen.
Yeah, unless we do something about it. Obviously he was, well, at least so far he's wrong. He's been wrong for the past 60, 70 years. So let's continue to hope that Golding is wrong. Now here's the deal with technology. Golding is also being a bit futurist here, because what is the first reason that they are burning this fire? Yes, in order to do what? Signal a ship to get off the island. Well, what could that mean if the island represents the world and humanity in this mortal coil? What is Golding insinuating that technology might represent? Golding is insinuating here that technology in and of itself carries with it the potential for transcendence. Do you know what this term means? It's a loose term. All right, let's take a look at it. Throughout history, mankind has sought to transcend his world. We have sought for different ways, whether they be political or theological or philosophical, to transcend the human experience. We are, because we are human, dissatisfied with life, our own mortality. So take a look at this. Early on, you have religion. Early on, you have religion. How does religion promise us a way to transcend this experience? We're sick of this world. How does religion historically promise us a way to transcend this experience? Go to heaven! Live a good life, go to heaven. Or whatever the afterlife is. Take your pick. When this begins, when we fall into an increased level of secularization, we enter the philosophers. And this is nothing new. This is nothing new. This goes back to Greece, maybe even before then. How does philosophy, specifically Socratic philosophy, offer mankind a means of transcendence? Y'all heard of Plato's cave? Y'all studied that in psychology? It's this idea that if man can access his reason, his ability to reason, he can access this other world, this world of authentic truth that exists outside of the body but in the mind. So, old Socrates and Plato say that there's another world out there, and we can access it through our reason. Well, this doesn't work out too well either, because after 3,000 years of Greek philosophy studies, we're still wondering, why are we all here? Are we any closer to the eternal questions? Wilson, what's the meaning of life, the universe, and everything? Quickly. Exactly. Who knows? Is there life on other planets? Is there a God? Does the soul exist? Who knows?
I know.
Good for you. Listen, everyone. 3,000 years of classical philosophy and the greatest thinkers who've ever lived. They couldn't come up with an answer, but you, at 17, you found it. You found it.
I know there's a God.
Right here. Everyone. She has the answer. 42. All right. Religion, philosophy. When this doesn't work out, and we're still left with ourselves, and there's no point in transcendence, then we turn towards politics. And we adopt a political philosophy of utopianism. You've all heard it before.
Oh, there's a happy place.
There's a happy place. If we would just adopt socialism or communism or extreme capitalism or anarchism or libertarianism, then we will live in a utopia. Y'all fear the utopianist. That didn't work out either. A lot of wars and a lot of people died believing this crap. So this isn't working out either. Now we move towards techno-futurist. And this is weird. This is really weird. This is the idea that transcendence can be achieved through fusion with machines.
Like that?
The idea that our consciousness can be uploaded in a
Oh,
sort of evolution.
I get you.
Yeah. This has been insinuated for decades and decades and decades. It's a hope of transcendence that Golding is kind of banking on here. We can use technology to get us off the island. He might even be talking about space travel. If we use up our resources here, we can go to space and continue to survive by colonizing other planets, etc., etc. This is what technology promises us. So that's the three issues there. But instead of this golden future, this golden panacea that technology promises us, mankind, like the boys, flubs it by burning down their island, by destroying their world, by using it for destructive purposes, by weaponizing it, by being negligent and irresponsible with it. Think about the technology that you have access to right now. I want you to think back over the years how negligent and irresponsible you have been in your own life with some of the technology that you've used. I know I have. I know I have. All right, we're going to stop there today, but keep in mind, Piggy is the Promethean. Go ahead and kill the file. Send it to me, can you?
Yeah.